George Leonidas Leslie was born 1842 to a respectable and well-to-do family of brewers in Toledo. When the Civil War started, his father provided the rich man's loophole for his son by paying $300, a sum worth over $10,000 today, in order to keep him out of the war, which, by the way, was not illegal at the time. The old adage, if you're rich enough, your life can be spared. George went on to earn a degree with honors in architecture and had a successful business as such. But in 1869, with the war over, and feeling pressures of ostracism by society, and his fiancée leaving him from pressure of her father for his deferment of service in the war, he moved to New York City to start over. His parents having passed away in the late 1860s, and he had sold off all ties to Ohio. He was ready to start over. He already had experienced being at the pinnacle of society, having wealth and education, and now he wanted something else, mystery and adventure. Through his social breeding, he rubbed shoulders with what was then New York's elite, sipping champagne and imported wines and fine clothes. But not all people in the upper echelon were what they appeared to be. This is how he met Frederica Mandelbaum, New York's most successful and powerful fence. A person who buys and sells stolen goods, Leslie would often dine at the still famous restaurant which caters to the wealthy Delmonico's. There he met John Roebling, the famous bridge builder who built the Cincinnati Suspension Bridge and was also chief engineer of the Brooklyn Bridge. But he also met another man, one that would change his life forever, Jubilee Jim Fisk. Fisk was a fabulously wealthy Wall Street speculator and owner of several large companies like the Erie Railway Company and Fall River Steamship Line and many more. He had made corporate looting and corruption a fine art, as it is in modern times. The details of Leslie and Fisk's encounter are impossible to recount, though it is safe to say they hit it off and recognized each other's character that lay beneath their fancy attire. And so Fisk invited Leslie to attend one of Mother Mom's dinner soirees. This was Leslie's introduction to the world of adventure he was seeking. It is most certain that Leslie confided in Mother Mom, he knew of her reputation, that he wanted to rob banks. Thus Mother Mom was intrigued and gave him orders to rob the Ocean National Bank, giving Leslie a seasoned crew to work him, whom many were skeptical following a virtual newcomer to the game. But they followed Mother Mom's orders and would be very happy they did. Leslie joined the bank to get a full view of the interior, which he built a model of in his so-called work quarters. He also had been working on a new device he called the Little Joker, which he proudly showed Mother Mom, and incidentally may have been the reason she incorporated him. The Little Joker was a marvel which Leslie had been working on for years. It was a small metal wheel with a wire that would fit perfectly inside the combination dial of a bank safe. When the safe was opened, the dial would make notches in the wheel, effectively showing the combination of the safe. There was a catch though, he had to get to the safe twice, once to plant the device and once to remove it. So as stated before, he became a member of the bank, seen as a gentleman of standing. In the meantime, Mom enlisted Jimmy Hope and Shag Draper as Leslie's associates. Leslie even convinced Mom to purchase the same safe the bank had, so the crew could rehearse several times. They then rented an office available in the basement below the bank. Another member of the crew, Johnny Irving, was a janitor to the bank, and he planted the Little Joker. They then broke into the bank on a Saturday, giving them ample time to perform their job, drilling through the roof of the basement to gain access. In the end of this robbery, the gang made off with $800,000, or approximately $25 to $30 million in 2025 buying power. He robbed more banks, and detectives at the time attributed 80% of America's bank robberies to Leslie. From the Westboro Bank in Philadelphia to the County Bank of Waterford in Saratoga, the papers gave him the name the greatest bank robber of all time. Leslie and his gang then set their sights on a bank in Northampton, Massachusetts, 150 miles north of New York City, which seemed to them an easy target as there was one key needed to open all vaults and safes. On the night of the 27th, they kidnapped the manager of the bank, tied up his family and servants, and walked him to the bank. The heist was a bust. Their take was only about $12,000, or about $400,000 in 2025 buying power. For 3 years, Leslie had his eyes on the Manhattan Savings Institution, meticulously mapping the largest and formidable in the nation. His plan was as follows. 1. Get to know the bank's executives. 2. Plant an inside man as a guard. 3. Survey every inch of the bank, building a replica in his warehouse. 4. Buy the same model safe the bank used and figure out how to crack it. It is said that after this heist, Leslie planned to retire, moving to whereabouts unknown. In October of 1878, using Leslie's plans, broke into the bank, getting away with $2,747,700. Reporters dubbed this as the most sensational bank robbery in the nation's history, a record that still stands today as of 2025. On June 4, 1878, Leslie's decomposing body was found in Yonkers along the Hudson River. He had been shot dead at age 36. While his murder remains a mystery, it is widely believed his accomplice Tom Shang Draper was responsible. At his funeral there were crime lords, cops, and financiers. His obituary reading, he was a man of refinement and culture, a skillful mechanic, and someone whose aid and advice was secured in every one of the larger robberies that have been committed in the last 10 or 12 years. He is buried in an unmarked grave under his real name, George Howard.